G'day everyone. Proud to say Barkarati is brought to you by Radix Nutrition, makers of the most technically comprehensive nutrition products that have ever existed. Unlock your potential with Radix. G'day listeners, welcome to Barkarati the Sailing Podcast. My name is Jordan Spencer and it's that time of the week where we get to hang out with some really cool sailors. But of course, I have to share the mic with my two idiot mates. So first off, let's welcome Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, Exalted One.
How are you, mate?
G'day everyone, how you going? Great to be here. I've got to say I've been rushing to get to this appointment because I've been out on our beautiful harbour, just cruising around. A little late afternoon sea breeze popped in. It's a pretty chilly winter's afternoon here in Sydney of about 20 degrees. Sun, not a cloud in the sky. So I had to wear long pants and socks, but other than that, it's all good.
What are you doing the evening weather report, mate? Where did that come from?
Because I just like everyone to understand, that it's midwinter here and it's absolutely freezing.
Okay.
Like it's good solid 20 degrees.
Yeah, no, lovely. We live in paradise. We're in a lucky place. We're bringing the other bloke.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
But he's not here.
Again.
No, Bicey's on a plane back to Europe, so we couldn't fit him in. So he is spewing because I talked up our guest this week because I said he would have an absolute ball because she's a ton of fun. And it's just got the attitude that you love to see. So I can see this person going an awful long way in their sport, even though they've already gone an amazing distance and a dead set legend. So
it's amazing to think that people can go further, isn't it?
Yeah. You know what I mean? Game changer. We're going to call her the game changer. That's my view on this guest. She's a two-time Olympian. She's loving this at the moment, getting a little bit of embarrassment, but two-time Olympian in the Ilka class, so 2020 let's call them just Tokyo and Paris, and is on the Swiss SailGP team, part of the team, filling in the strategist role. She is a lot of fun. I had a chat to her in Sydney, and I knew I wanted her on the show from the moment I met her. So please welcome to Barkarati, Maud Jayet. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, thanks.
Too much?
Why are you laughing?
We often hear that it's that people say it's strange when we talk about them in front of them. You sort of don't really think about what you've achieved until someone says it.
Yeah. I wouldn't definitely call myself a game changer, but yeah, thanks. I feel really good about myself now.
That's it. No, it's just like when I look through, right, not only have you done all that, but, what are you doing? Your master's, you got what?
Yeah, I finished my uni. Yeah, I did a law and economics master degree, so yeah. I did.
Might as well. That's what you could do.
In what?
Yeah.
It's just, it's too much. You're too much.
Yeah, it was a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was really important. I think my family would have stopped talking to me if I didn't do uni. So, it was pretty important for myself, but also for my friends and family that I get my uni degree, because I think a lot of people struggle to think that I'm actually working when I go sailing. It kind of feels like I'm just cruising around the world on holiday all the time. So
you don't want to be just a SailGP sailor, do you? Really?
No. It's kind of just see like where I'm going. They don't really see what I'm doing when I'm away. So it's like, oh, well, this week I'm in New York, and then now I'm like going to China, and then so it's at least I have my master's degree, so they all feel like eventually when I stop, like they'll be like, okay, she can actually get a job now.
Do you reckon like Formula One drivers? Do you you think like who's a famous Formula One? Max Verstappen, right? Do you reckon his parents are going, I hope she gets her law and economics degree, his law and economics degree, just in case, like it's just a crazy scenario.
No, it is crazy. I think it's just like such a different, I think in Switzerland, we really do not have the culture of athletes being an athlete is a job. Like it's
Yep.
really like it's not a job. It's like your hobby.
Yeah.
And it's like what are you actually gonna do after? So I think that's a bit like how I like the kind of mindset I grew up with as well. And I think especially as a girl, because obviously until now, like all of the big whoever became professional sailing for the rest of his life is like was only guys.
Yeah.
So it was a bit like for sure as a girl, like you're gonna sail until you're 28, and then after that you're gonna go to work and have kids and be a housewife.
That's the role model. That's the plan.
Yeah, but now like luckily it is changing. So yeah, we'll see. Like I definitely never imagined myself really making a career out of sailing, but I think the more the years go by, the more you're like, oh, maybe, yeah, we'll see. Maybe I definitely went to uni for nothing. Hopefully not. But
you finished your masters. Have you finished it now? So is that right?
Yeah, I got my diploma in my room finally. So it's I was really worried because I wasn't getting it. So I was like, wait, why are they sending me my diploma? But I got it. So
I've got a similar degree.
Yeah.
It's in the garage with covered in dust. I've never actually hung it up. That was it, you know.
Yeah.
But I've got to ask, you know, like it's a tough ask. What you went through, lots of study. You would have plowed through a lot of books. Did it help? I can't see how it would have, but did it help when you were trying to campaign for the Olympics, or like as it just, you know, sort of took pressure off in other areas, or were you just doing everything, like sailing in Ilka?
I don't know. I think to me, honestly, I do feel like it helped sometimes because I think it takes off the pressure from sailing a bit. Because you're like, okay, if shit hits the fan, like sailing wise, and I don't actually perform and stuff, like at least I've actually done something else. I was like, if it feels like you really poured everything, like you've given up on studying and everything to do sailing, and you don't succeed, then it's kind of like, fuck, I really don't have anything else. Like, as at least right now, I'm like, okay, if I never manage to really like get a career in sailing and etc., like at least I'm like, well, I've finished my studies and I can like just go straight to work.
I guess the big thing here though is when you were doing the Olympic campaign, you're in amateur status. I mean, you're still sailing in amateur sort of setup. It's not really like you're pushing towards a profession.
I don't know.
But hear my point though, because you sort of the risks of taking that jump from saying I'm going to be a professional sailor is you're still sailing Olympic campaigns. You're looking for money, you're looking for sponsorship, and you're right. You're sort of still on that sort of brink of the dipping your toe in the water, if you like.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's. I think it's just like a bit the fact that I live in Switzerland, which is like the most expensive country in the world, pretty much, and it's like I think you just can't really afford to not have a plan B because it's like, I think it's just, for me, it was really obvious as soon as I finished kind of the mandatory school at 18. It was like, nah, I need to do both of these projects parallel. And yeah, for sure there were periods where it was definitely probably did impact my sailing a bit because obviously you're, studying all night and then you're tired for training. And then, so like for sure it had definitely, I think I could have been more efficient maybe for training, and maybe it would have made a difference now in my career if I hadn't done it. But at the same time, I think how much more you feel so much more kind of light of being like, okay, I have something else. And I think once I finished my studies, it was really obvious that like it was like this big burden off my shoulders of being like, okay, like now you can keep doing your career, and like as soon as you decide it's like over, you actually know what you're going to do next. And I think that's something where like talking to other sailors, I feel like sometimes whoever didn't do a career, I do feel like a big difference with them where I'm like, to me it's really obvious that like I'm not scared of eventually putting an end to my sailing career because I'm like, I already kind of know what I want to do after. Or at least I haven't, like, I know that I will give it a shot, at least for in law. As some sailors, they literally have no plan B. So it's like, they like, they don't have anything else. So it's like if suddenly they stop sailing, and that's why they sometimes cling on to sailing, even though maybe they're, performance wise they're not bringing in any results anymore and stuff, but just because they don't really know what they want to do after. So yeah,
we've had a
I
couple.
think for me that's
Sorry.
yeah. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we've had a couple of female guests on who, they've gone that professional route as well. So they're doing really well in the sport, but they're also holding down law roles in sailing world, and also accounting roles and directors roles and stuff like that. So it'll all pay out. The only reason I sort of asked the question is I remember exam period, during exam period, my sailing just went downhill so bad. That did my head in so bad. But anyway, one of the things, obviously, with the Olympics in the ILCA, there was a big step up. You went, I think it was 19th in Tokyo, and then up to 4th in Paris. Is that more maturity in the boat? Is that physical changes in you, mental changes? Like what do you attribute, or different coaching?
I think it's a bit tricky because I think a lot of people like put the whole jump on just like a lot of different things, like coaching, training more and stuff. But like I think like honestly, like going in Tokyo, I think I was I think going through a lot of things on the personal side, and I think I like definitely went through a big period of like burnout and just feeling very depressed. And I think that's something that like I never really talked about. So it's like only the people very close to me then know about it. And so like the Olympics in Tokyo went terribly. Like I think I was, even before the regatta was started, I was like, it like makes me tear up even talking about it.
Wow.
Like crying pretty much every day of the event.
Was that just pressure you put on yourself, Maud? Was it just pressure you put on yourself and put it and you obviously you've learned a lot from it? Is that what you sort of put down to?
I think it was the mix. There's some stuff on the personal side and like really personal, and then some for sure pressure. And I think like I just like the whole COVID period was like great because obviously we all kind of like went at the time. I remember to Lanzarote and just like stayed there for months, and then well, like I mean, it was great to be an athlete at that point because like I think we kind of had a normal life in Lanzarote while everyone in like at least Switzerland and were like pretty stuck on what they were allowed to do and stuff. So that was great, but I think I kind of just got in a rhythm where like constantly sailing, hardly any time at home, and I think that made it a bit like I think I definitely was missing on that mental freshness. And I think once the pressure of the Olympics started like stepping in, and like I think there if you're already like a bit tired, slightly burnt out and stuff, it just gets like a bit very overwhelming. So I think there is
on top of that you had to study as well, right?
No, because I did like not like I definitely like I studied in periods, and I like when I was close to peak events, like I took the semester off. So I think that's also why for me it wasn't so much an issue with studying, because I definitely like planned everything to be free and like not have to do too much for the really important time. So like the period like post before the Olympics I definitely wasn't studying too much, but I think it was just a lot going on. And then at the games it was just it was like I think it was like by far my worst result in the ILCA in like several months or like even years. So I definitely underperformed a lot. So I think now people are like, wow, you did such a big jump from Tokyo to Paris, but actually it's like my level around Tokyo was already actually way better. It's just Tokyo was really a bad event. So, but I'm like, I think for sure, like definitely changed a bit my mindset going into Paris, where I would think I took way more seriously just like kind of that balance of sailing, being a full-time athlete, like away a lot, and like still trying to keep my normal life, make sure that I can still see my friends enough, that I'm still home enough, that I don't miss out. I don't feel like I'm constantly missing out on like just being like at home. And I think, yeah, that's also what helped me. I think on the long run for this campaign, like to be way better than for Tokyo.
Yep.
As
Makes sense.
a coach, like hearing that, there's a couple of things that jump out straight away. Is that mental piece and how important that is to athlete performance. You know, everything focuses on the physical and practicing and redoing and learning. But when it comes to actual major events, all that stuff is like in a knowledge bank stashed away. You've got to focus on everything else, you know, and that mental element. There's an interesting thing we had. Was it the Worlds or the Olympics? An Australian sprinter. He was a swimmer, a sprint swimmer, and he quit the Australian swim team. You know, he did this huge blocks of training, and he quit the Australian swim team, and he just did his own program, and he swam like 13 hours a week. Like nothing, or 13 kilometres a week, sorry. It was something ridiculous, like brought everything right down, did lots of other things and changed the whole game to suit him and won the gold. You know, like he was completely real, and he went out and won the gold because he changed things to suit. And it sounds like you've had the hard lesson at an Olympics, which is the worst time to have it, but you got a lesson and you've learnt from it, which is a great sign.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's like you always, I think it like the Olympics and like performing in general at an event, it's so individual how you do it. Like every person has it's like everyone has his own path to performance. And I think like the worst you can do is kind of like copy what someone else is doing, because there's like a high chance it's not going to suit you. It's like some people, you know, they need to, like leading up to an important event, they need to be like constantly training and like, you know, not having more than 2-3 days out of the boat. As like for me, it's like I actually need to have a break and kind of feel like, okay, now I really want to get back in the boat, and then I know I can perform. But as if like if I feel like I've been like constantly sailing and I'm kind of over it, especially the laser, the Elka, because it's such a tough boat, because it's like, yeah, super physical, top speed's pretty low.
Well, I have to have my Musto onesie when I go offshore, otherwise I lose it. You know, so it's the same thing. You've got to have all your rhythms in place.
Yeah. So it's like it's pretty hard boat to sail like on a daily basis. So it's like for me, it's like kind of almost like the more time away I get from the boat, like the better I get, because when I get in the boat, I'm actually so keen to race and sail that I'm like, I just get to another level. As like if I feel like fuck, I've been sailing nonstop, I'm like I just want to, you know, do something else, then I know that I'm not gonna I'm not gonna be sailing well. So yeah, but that's very individual, and I think that's something where you need to, for sure, it takes experience and takes like over the years you kind of like figure out what's your type and how you're gonna perform. And yeah, now I feel like I kind of got to a point where I kind of know what I need when I know when I have a like really important event coming up.
It's pretty cool. It's you know, to be able to take that lesson away. So I guess just maybe we could set some more foundational stuff for you. Like, are you from a sailing family? Did you grow up? Like, how did you start sailing?
Yeah, so not at all from a sailing family, which is a nice thing, and at the same time sometimes it's a bit annoying because no one really gets what I'm doing. But no, not at all family
Hence the
sailing.
degree.
Yeah, and I actually like started like, yeah, I think we have really, but I think probably around the world it's all the same, but we have really big summer holidays in Switzerland when you're at school when you're young. So yeah, pretty much parents trying to fill up the blanks and sign you up to all different activities. And yeah, I think it was around the time like of the Alingi's first campaign for the America's Cup. So yeah, around 2003, something like that. And yeah, parents signed me up to sailing, and I think the really thing that kind of like got me into it, I think, is that they signed up my brother as well. And obviously, I think when
I've heard
you're
this before. Yeah.
when you're this younger sibling, you kind of want to do everything the same. So I think it's kind of like he got into sailing, and he actually also kept sailing until 420s, so around 17 or something before stopping. But yeah, kind of like was for me like, okay, if he's gonna keep sailing, I'm definitely gonna keep sailing as well. And then yeah, so my parents suddenly had two children sailing, which probably didn't expect, because yeah, none of them were sailors. And yeah, but yeah, so I got into it, and then yeah, I suddenly kind of like turn like you end up qualifying for the Opti World, and then suddenly you're like sailing laser. And then I think at that time it's like, I think it was around the time there's like the London Olympics. So I remember it's kind of the first Olympic Games where I was really like following the sailing and the results and stuff. And I think that was kind of like clicked, like, okay, I definitely need to, I definitely want to go to the Olympics as a sailor as well. So
Hey,
that's how it all started.
I've got to say, BP, you'll can attest to this. Sailing as a babysitter, that we've had that conversation so many times on this show where people have started out, and in fact, another Olympic sailor, a female sailor, and she was the younger. Remember, was the British windsurfer, female windsurfer? I've got a mental blank. Anyway. But yeah, exact same story. It's just hilarious. Just people, it probably wasn't there actually.
The family gets out there, and the brother and the sister off they go, usually to get them out of the hair of the parents, and then they don't realise they're nurturing a career path.
Yeah, an expensive one as well for them.
Yeah.
They probably was not very happy.
So what did you, and so for all the major organisers of yachting federations around the world, maybe think about that as in your marketing documents, that sailing as a babysitting service. We're getting Olympians out of it. What was the thing for you that you enjoyed in the sailing? Like when you were young and you were thrown out there, like were there any moments of I don't want to do this, or do you just remember?
And it's okay to say mermaids and dolphins, because we have quite a few Olympic sailors that they only started because they wanted to go out with the dolphins.
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, for us, it was like, I mean, whoever's been in Switzerland knows that there's not much wind. So actually, I think I really enjoyed swimming. Like most of our training camps ended up, us jumping in the boat in the water from the Opti, and, swimming around
and
and
having all sorts of fun.
capsizing. You try to
going
go
underneath
up
the boat and breathing the air underneath the boat.
You try going up the mast. And I mean, honestly, I think that's like, sometimes I'm like, fuck, did I really, like, is that really what drew me to sailing? And I'm like pretty sure that was that part. Like,
it's called fun. It's called fun.
Yeah, it was really fun. And like, I think, I don't know, that like I think that like the ambiance comes with the other kids, where you're like playing games. Like we had all these games, throwing tennis balls. Coach was to throw tennis balls, and you have to like, well, obviously scull because there's no wind, but like we're sculling around to go and catch them. And I mean, it's all these things where I think it just like made the sport really fun. So,
but without realizing it, learning skills,
Yeah, and then slowly, obviously, you start like days where there is wind, you actually sail a bit, and then start racing. And then yeah, the racings also was like get it like pretty fun. And then yeah, and suddenly you like keep going, and then you get to competitive level, and yeah, you still think it's fun, so you just keep going. Yeah, I feel like
was it from the early age that you thought to yourself? And we ask this question all the time, don't we, Jordan? But was it from an early age you thought, you know what, I'm going to go and beat that person. I want to beat that person, or I want to beat my brother, or whatever. Were you competitive from a young age?
I don't know. I feel like I don't remember my Opti days being that competitive, but I mean, for sure I must have, because I did qualify for the world, so that's pretty hard, considering it's like mixed. I think the year where I qualified, we were two girls, but like I had been years where it had only been boys qualifying. So I think especially as a girl, it was pretty hard to qualify for the Worlds. So yeah, for sure I was competitive. I think it's just like, I think it came like gradually. I don't think initially that was the only reason I was doing it. I think for sure at some point there's probably the whole brother sister. I think just me wanting to, be around the older, my friend, my brother, who's like, he's 2 years older, and like, also try to impress like the whole his friends. Not like
Oh,
not in a
right.
weird
Now
way.
we get it. Now we get it. Just wanted to
I
hang
was
out with the
thinking
older
of like
boys,
how I
right?
could say this. No, not in a weird way, but yeah, like I was like 12, but yeah, just like, I don't know how when you're younger, it's like hanging out with older people is just like so cool, and like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that was part of it. So yeah, I'm still at that today. I'm joking.
Okay, so there's another.
We,
Love it, love it. Okay, so there's another aspect to this question. When was it that people around you started to see that you had talent? Because ultimately, you don't go through this, on your own. You don't just say, "I'm going to be an Olympic sailor." There's an element of
Yeah.
talent. There's an element of talent, and there's also an element of being sort of, guided and mentored. And so that must have happened at some stage.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. Like for me as well, I think my mom, she has some recollection of like coaches telling her like, yeah, like you're like Maud has like definitely has talent. Like she's gonna like go somewhere, like she's gonna have a like, maybe not a career, but like she's gonna go far in this sport. So my mom definitely remembers coaches and stuff saying that to her. So I think for me, I definitely wouldn't remember a time where I knew I had talents, because I don't know. I think even now today, sometimes I'm like, it's hard for me to.
You remain
I'm
humble.
someone who's like, I'm very objective. So for me, it's kind of like hard to say, oh yeah, you have so much talent. Like it's not something I think of myself. I'm more like, okay, you just, you got to where you got because you
You work
worked and
hard.
stuff.
There's no question. You
Yeah,
work hard.
but my mom definitely remembers coaches saying that to her, and I think what I was lucky with, I think we had a coach around those years who just, we were like a bit of a group who all actually ended up doing Olympic campaigns, which is rare for such a small club, because my club is really small here in Lausanne. And I think the coach really like took us under his like under his wing, and it was really like, okay, we're like, like, and like followed us throughout the years, when usually coaches kind of stay in the age groups, and it's kind of like once you're older, then you get to kind of someone new, or like you change coaches as well. And I think he really had a group, and a super strong group, and I think he really saw that potential of all of us kind of like going further than just club sailing. And yeah, so he followed us for a while, and I think that really helped us. In the end, we're like, yeah, three, like one of us, I went to the games. Unfortunately, the two others didn't. But like we all had campaigns until Tokyo in the Finn 470, and me in the Ilka. So yeah, I think that definitely helped with the whole thing, because I think it's like once you have a really strong group around you, it motivates you to keep going as well, because you're like, you wanna you wanna stay part of it, of the thing. And I think having a really good coaches is actually so important at that age, because I feel like sometimes some people stop just because the coaches are not good, and
It's not a good experience for them. Yeah.
and they don't want to actually keep going. As us, like the coach made us all want to keep going. Like,
Yeah,
so
great.
yeah.
it's I wonder the things that stick in your mind from that age. Like, do you remember the first race you won as a kid?
Yeah, I do. Actually, the first race I do. I remember, because I was so stressed, because I could never win. So I really had a mental block of thinking like, you can't win. Like you'll always finish second or third. So I remember my first race, but I was actually only in the 4.7. So in the opties, I never won races, but 4.7 at the Swiss Championship, I won my first race. So
Well,
that was good.
run
And
us through
actually,
that.
I
Run us
probably
through that.
I probably had to beat Seb to win that race as well. So
Seb Schneider.
yeah, so
Whoa.
Can you talk about that?
Let's expand on that a little bit, shall we, Maud?
Yeah.
Seb. So Seb is listening. So let's go through it.
He
definitely will not listen to it.
He has to listen to you on the boat.
Yeah, he does. I'll remind him of that time when I was as good as him. No, I'm joking.
Okay, so just can we just don't worry about sailing at Seb and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But you're coming out. You've got the last work or whatever it was, downwind or upwind, doesn't matter. And you're coming towards that finish line. How were you feeling? Was it like relief or was it just ecstatic? How was it? Because it's so cool that we relate this to kids, because the kids they love this sort of stories.
I think for me it was relief, because it's kind of like when you have that in your voice in your head saying like, yeah, you can't do it, you don't have what it takes to win a race, and suddenly you just do it, and then you're like, oh, finally, like, I know, like now I know I can. And it's a bit the same
you have to learn how to win.
Me, yeah, obviously for me, like getting my first world championship medal was also a huge relief, because I think unlike a lot of the girls I'm competing with, I actually never at a youth level got world's medals.
Mm-hmm.
Like I kind of always just missed out. And I think I like growing up, I had this huge pressure of being like, fuck, if I didn't even manage to do it at a youth level, like how in the world would I manage in the senior fleet? Like, and so when I got my 2 medals at Worlds in a row, I was like, oh, well, actually it doesn't mean anything if you didn't do it in a youth level, like, because like for sure it's like, as long as I think you're like working hard and you're like around that, top 5, top 10, like you're probably still good enough to get it at a senior level. So I think at the time was a bit the same, where obviously you feel like you'll never be good enough to win a race, and then eventually it happens and you're like, oh, well, now I know I can do it, and then it gets way easier to do it again. So that was
I love it. I just it's such a good team. I do have to say, with Seb, he's our favourite skipper in SailGP. Now, I'm not allowed to say that because I work on SailGP.
Really?
I'll tell you why.
Yes.
I'll tell you why. There's a little bit of a reason here. It's because the Aussie, his name, so, his name in Australia, there's a thing called a chicken schnitzel. Have you ever heard that? Have you ever heard of it?
Oh, yeah, schnitzel. Yeah.
Yeah, of course you would. So, but in Australia, it's a schnitter. We call it a schnitter because, we abbreviate everything in Australia. So you want to go out for a schnitter. And so his surname sounds very close to that. So we just call him Schnitter all the time. How's Schnitter going? And so.
I'm not sure he's going to like that, actually. I'll call him like that in New York and see how he responds to it.
This is a super cool segue, actually, because when I hear Maud for me is very familiar, because Maud, the name Maud, I have an Auntie Maud, who is Auntie Myrtle's sister and Uncle Murray's sister, and that's how I know Maud. It's a very Australian name, actually.
Is it? Because honestly, I struggle so much with my name anywhere else in Switzerland. Everyone's always like, pronunciation is terrible, and everyone's just like, where does this name come from? Like, I don't know anyone.
Well, Auntie Maud's my grandma's sister, and and she's Auntie Myrtle's sister and Uncle Murray. They were married, so it was all good.
Yeah, well, yeah, my mom named me after the movie Harold and Maude, which is a bit odd because it's like this very old grandma who starts dating a young guy. Not quite sure why it inspired her to name me like that, but yeah. So,
all right, we're calling the back part of the cockpit in the Swiss SailGP team the Aussie. You're the Aussie honorary Aussies because you got Schnitter and Maud. So
Schnitter and Maud. We can make a movie about it.
That's the sequel, Schnitter and Maud.
Schnitter and Maud.
Yeah. Schnitter. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. No, it's super cool. We just love talking about this stuff. It's great fun.
So,
Yeah.
like you obviously sailing became a passion. What about some of the other boats? Obviously, in Switzerland, there's a lot of sailing because you've got Great Lake opportunities. So you obviously have sailed a lot of different boats to end up sailing on the SailGP. So you've, have you got a passion? Yeah. Any of them that you love?
Other boats. I mean, I must say I am lucky to have got into the SailGP team because I think as a laser sailor, we have a very bad rep in the whole foiling world. And so I think I was lucky that in Switzerland I was definitely like best performer in general, like at an Olympic level, and I kind of like made them in the end give me the opportunity. But yeah, so now I'm like really just trying to sail foiling boats as much as I can, and I like really got into the switch for the last few months, and I just love it. I just got back from a training camp in Garda I'm just really trying right now to like with the class, I'm trying to really build a strong female group because I feel like in the Moth, it's such a shame because there's like practically no girls sailing the Moth. And I mean, just in general, it's such an expensive boat. Like, I think it's outrageous how much it costs to have a Moth campaign. So I'm really trying to push more and more girls to buy switches, and hopefully we can get like a really fun, foiling.
Talk about that a little bit and tell us what you're trying to achieve there and how you're going about it, because ultimately, it's important that you get your message out.
Yeah, I think it's like, obviously, like I know quite well some of the people are like working with the switch class. I don't think we're a class yet, but still, and so I like kind of like wanted to buy one myself, and then I actually, as a joke, I kind of told some of them like, it'd be really, because they build the boats in Thailand. And so I was telling one of them like, it'd be really fun if you guys organize a training camp in Thailand. Like thinking more about the holiday aspect of it than really sailing. But I was like, it'd be really good sailing there. And actually they totally picked up on the idea, and they were like, we're actually keen to do it. Like, who do you want to invite? And then I was kind of, so I was suddenly like in charge of organizing this training camp in Thailand, which was, and so I like picked the dates. I was like, okay, on the way back from Sydney, that works perfectly fine with flying back to Europe. And then got a few asked a few girls in the SailGP fleet like who would be keen, and kind of like started like that. And then it was super fun, like huge success. And then now I organize another one now in May, where I was also asking girls and just trying to convince more girls to buy boats, and hopefully just get a really good fleet. And probably it's going to take a bit of time, but in the next 1 or 2 years, hopefully get more and more girls in the boat. And I think it's just so much fun sailing already with the others, because it's I think we're definitely right now we're all in a mindset where we're really doing it for fun and just having a good time all together. So it's it's really just good banter, and we're not in a we're maybe right now at a stage where it's not competitive, where you're just spying on the other trims and not wanting to train with the people who are doing too well already. And so it's really just good fun. And I think it's for me was important to, I think it's also important for me to prove to show to my SailGP team that I do take seriously the fact that I'm definitely not as experienced in foiling as other sailors, and that even if I'm a laser sailor, I do want to, I am trying to improve myself on foiling boats and just improve my skills in general. So I think the switch was a great option. And I think it's we just really, every time we have a good time. It was so good that I think I'm joking about it, but I think Phil Robertson was in Garda, and he got a bit jealous of our girl squad, so we let him in for the last day.
I love it. The token.
That's Phil.
He joined our pre-start, so I think so.
I wonder
if he was just barging, was he? Barging boat end.
Yeah, no. I did tell him, I was like, yeah, we're it's actually kind of sad. Like SailGP the starts are not as hectic like anymore. It's a bit less stuff happening. But yeah.
Well, you should.
So yeah, no,
Do you think more that we've got a pretty broad sort of group of people in strategist roles and that sort of stuff on these boats. Strategy is hugely important. Do you think there's a big difference between foiling strategy and laser strategy? I mean, other than the speed.
yeah.
Let's talk about positioning. Let's talk about mark rounding and other boats. You think it's just
I mean, for
faster?
sure, there is quite a. I think it's just like I think for me, foiling strategy is a bit more like strategy I would use when it's like really windy, because I think in anything less windy, you can kind of. I think the laser is just kind of the class where you can probably afford to tack the most often. So it's like if you're in a bad lane, you'll just be like, okay, like I'll tack back in like, a minute
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
get
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
new
Yeah.
lane. And it's something you can't afford to do when foiling boats. So I think for me it's kind of like switching to that mindset of okay, like here you're just like sorry, can you hear my stomach's um I'm
It's
hungry.
not coming through. It's not coming through.
Okay, good because
Are you
yeah.
hungry?
So
Are you hungry?
yeah, I didn't have breakfast yet. But yeah, it's a bit for me, it's like I think it's really like adapting to like okay, this is like now I have to think more of like I would in strong winds where it's like you just want to limit tacking because
So
that's
sort
like
of
you
deal with the lanes a bit more longer than you would if you were in your laser.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But also,
And I
but
think
also
it's
surely you're when you're thinking off the start line, and let's say you've got a good start, and you're trying to get to that optimum position. I mean, there's such short races. That's the thing with the SailGP. We know that.
yeah.
But when you do get into a strong position, you're trying to cover but extend. You're trying to put yourself always in that stronger position.
Yeah, I mean, I think it like to be honest, I do. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of things that are quite similar to the Ilka and Yen, and it's like, I mean, it's like you said, like when you're in a strong position, you want to consolidate. When you're in the back, you're looking for opportunities, and I mean, in the end, it's the same in every class. Like,
Sure.
Yeah,
I think
which is the point I'm
people,
trying to make.
yeah, like I think people who think that Ilka sailors are completely off the plot, like I don't agree with that because
I don't agree with that either,
in the
because
end, for us,
that's why I'm saying that I
it's
think that
even
having
yeah,
that skill, in an
yeah,
Ilka fleet, I think is a huge skill to bring into the SailGP
yeah.
fleet.
Yeah, and I think if anything, I feel like our strategy is more refined than anyone else's because it's like we're battling against 50 other boats, you know? I feel like the smaller the fleet, kind of the more simple your strategy can be. And as us, it's like, we're playing with like 5-degree shifts, as maybe in other classes, they're not gonna even consider it as long as it hasn't hit like 10 degrees or something. So I think it's yeah, this for sure. Like now in sales VP, I feel like I can definitely do the job they expect me to do, even as a laser sailor. But like I think for now, it's just also making sure that for the bits that I am helming, which is like sometimes if we do a jibe roundup, like obviously I have to do it because Seb doesn't have time to cross and stuff like that. And there, I think it's really like making sure that I can helm the boat properly and that's why like for me it's important to spend time also on foiling boats and making sure that I develop myself as a foiling helm as well and not
There's
just
also
stick to the
the
laser.
fact that you don't have to hike more, so you must be a lot happier on the water.
Yeah, I'm definitely happy. I'm really enjoying this year actually because I'm taking time off from the Ilka and like yeah, oh my god, I think the physical aspect is like it's so nice to actually feel like you're really sailing and not just like hiking because if yeah
In saying that, there have been some instances where there has been some sailors who come from a hiking background that decide to throw themselves over the side at the corners.
yeah
Hopefully, we don't see that from you.
no. Yeah, sometimes if the boat's feeling too much I lean
Yeah,
out so
yeah.
no I don't but yeah no
Do you
yeah it's
remember?
definitely
Do you remember the first time going out on the 50?
yeah it was in Chicago because the first season they did like I mean, initially we're supposed to be 5 girls in the project on rotation, which in hindsight was a terrible idea. Like it didn't last long, that whole concept. So, but I did make it to the second event of the team, which was in Chicago, and yeah. So actually, the first day was super breezy. It was like, I don't remember. Like to me, it seemed like it was 25 knots, but maybe it was less. But super windy.
It was
Definitely
probably
didn't.
12 knots, but 100 knots on your face.
Yeah, and I think then it was already the boys. I think after seeing Bermuda, they had figured that it was a good idea for the female to helm out of tacks and jibes. So it was like first time on a F50, straight into giving me a shot at helming out of tack and jibes. At that point, I really did not have any experience in foiling boats, so had no idea about the angles or anything. So honestly, it's a miracle we did not capsize the boat that day, because I think I definitely did not know what I was doing, but the boys were also not really, definitely not settled in their new roles on board. So yeah, it was scary. Like I think it was like wind was like offshore, so definitely straight out of the marina, we had to do a massive barroway to go downwind.
Zimba.
Yeah,
Off you
and
go.
I really, that this is like one of my core memories. I'll remember this my whole life. I just remember like, when you have like the you really have the adrenaline and it feels like your whole stomach is going up in your body. And I went down and I held on to the handles and I was just like, oh my God, what am I doing here? Like the speed was, it was so overwhelming how quick the boats were going. So yeah, you get used to it, but like, yeah, that first barroway was insane. Like, yeah,
So that's the stories we love to hear, because
Yeah,
I mean,
I got another.
not all of us are going to get the opportunity to sail these boats, Jay. And we ask this question all the time. What about your first sail of a
yeah.
boat?
No,
And
I got another one. I got another idea. Have you ever buzzed past an Ilka on the 50? Like that extreme difference in speed. Have you done a buzz past an Ilka yet?
Have we? Oh, I probably have, like
You
in
just you
Sydney or
didn't see
so,
it.
but yeah, no, I mean, even now, like when I sail like on the switch, which is probably not even half the speed of F50, and I sail past the laser, and I'm just like, oh my God, like it's actually,
I
it's
did that.
it's
I did that for 12 years of my life.
yeah, it's ridiculous how slow we are. Like it's like, yeah,
Yeah, well,
I
you
understand
work
why
hard to
people
go
are like,
really slow, Maud. You work really hard to go really slow.
no, and like we're literally like giving our lives to like go like 0.2 not faster than the others, and it's when like yeah, I mean when it is pretty crazy.
But
Yeah,
we do say quite a lot on here. Is if there is 20 bathtubs on the water with sails, and we're all trying to sail them as best we can. So it's
yeah,
one of those
yeah.
things, isn't it? You're out on the water and you're sailing against other sailors, and you're on the same boat. That's how it is.
Yeah, no, I did. I think that's why also like I think the whole concept for the laser. I think what really drew me into the class is like, well, the simplicity. I think the fact that it's one design. Like I hate I think that's why also I love the Switch compared to the Moth, because I think the whole thing about like all the equipment testing and like just basically paying to get the best equipment possible. I think that's something that I really dislike in general in sailing. So for me, like the whole like having one design, you don't need to like think too much about the equipment. You just know that like your boat's pretty much the same as everyone else's, and it's really like just focusing on technique and like sailing the right way more than anything. And I think that's something that I also look forward to seeing in the Switch, how it's gonna develop, because it's the same manufacturer as the some of the lasers. And yeah, so when they created the class, it was really like, yeah, we wanted one design, everyone has the same kit. Long term, hopefully you can also like fly to events and just get a new hull, and you fly with all your foils and sail, and you just get a charter hull. And I think that's something that as a laser sailor I definitely love about it, 'cause I hate boat work. and yeah, I
Well,
definitely do not want to get into that.
Yeah, no, you don't want to be building new traveller lines every week.
No, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's a
I
quite
could give you a job as a Volvo rigger. Come and do that. That'll be fun.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'd be useless at it as well. Like every time we have boat work in F50, I kind of just like
Fade away
slowly,
in the background, just sort of
fade
wander off.
away. Like something I have a grinding session to do, or like I just have a deep conversation with our coach because it's important to
Do
chat
some
with him as well.
physio, a bit
So
of physio,
yeah, exactly. Physio is right at that time where we have to go, like haul the boat in and clean it. So.
yeah.
Yeah. No,
No, we
I'm
know.
actually
But we
I
know
never miss.
we know you're not like that. We know that you're in
No,
there
no,
and you're
no.
doing it. No, we know that.
No,
But
I'm just
it's true. It's
useless.
true. I
But
mean, it's
for the
true. Boat
boat
work's
work.
hard. It's not easy.
Yeah, I think it's also hard when you're not doing it consistently because sometimes I generally just I do something once and then I don't have to do it for another 6 months or something. So when I have to do it again, I'm just like, I mean, yeah, hardly remember what I'm supposed to do. So yeah, I think I'm more of a hassle. Like I think they're probably happier that I don't do anything. But no, every once in a while I do like help out and
Yeah.
yeah. I
Um,
think I'm
No, we
very
know.
grateful for our tech team. So I
Yeah,
make
no,
sure
we
they
know.
know that I'm grateful for them.
you've got
Mm.
you've gone on this like journey, and I suspect you've probably gone to places you hadn't planned. With where you are now. So when you look forward, what's next for you? Like, there's a couple of things, particularly being female, that are really, you're right on the cusp of a great time. Like you guys are a game changer, as we said at the start. You've got, you've got the America's Cup now
Thanks.
but if the new thing, like there's going to be female sailors in the actual cup, but there's also the Women's America's Cup. The Swiss obviously have a great history with the cup. There's obviously SailGP that's ongoing, and it's going gangbusters. It seems to be the league that's going to last because all the licenses have gone up ridiculous amounts in dollar values, and so it's definitely something that there's a future. Is there another Olympics for you? You're staying with SailGP, you're going to the Cup, like are you going to start running a major sailing brand? What's the future?
Yeah. I don't know. I like for sure like it's if I think of like when I was 20, for me it was like, yeah, you're gonna sail until Paris 2024 and then you're gonna retire because you're already 28 and you need to start working.
So old.
And no, but really that's literally like I remember at the time like when I was maybe it was 2015 and 2016, I'd be like, yeah, but anyways, like Marit's gonna stop after this because she'll be 28, she'll be too old to do another campaign. And then so I think I had this no, but like when I was growing up, I really was like, for me it was like really clear that like if you're a female sailor, like you wouldn't sail past, for sure not past 30, like so I think that's something where like obviously over the years now it's like more and more girls are really making a career out of it, which is great. And I think for me, I'm still like kind of just trying to manage like that, idea I had that I was gonna for sure retire around 30 and do something else to really like now being like actually I really could keep doing this for another 10 years. So yeah, I don't really know what my plans are. I think for now I'm still like I definitely want to probably do LA in 2028 because yeah, I finished fourth at the games in Paris and I think like I do feel like I want to get another shot at medaling uh in about 3 years now. So but I do want to keep doing SailGP as well. So I think we'll see now with the calendars how it fits, how compatible it is. I think definitely some sailors have shown that they can be really good at like do both full time and be really good at it. So I think it's a bit more like question whether I can do that as well or if I need to at some point decide one or the other. But yeah, I think for me that's definitely like I want to put my whole focus on SailGP. Like it's actually funny because I think growing up like I was never drawn too much to the America's Cup. I think, like, I remember all the boys, they were all like, oh, the America's Cup and stuff. But I think for me, it was never really, it's never really something that interested me too much. So, like, for sure, for now, like, I definitely would prioritize SailGP over it. So, yeah, I think my kind of goal for the next, like, my kind of like idea for the next few years is like doing SailGP and the ILCA until 2028. And then after 2028, I guess, see what's going on. Like, I mean, obviously this world as well, it's like 1 year you're doing this, and then suddenly next year maybe SailGP team, we get sold and there's no more Swiss team, or I mean, you never know. So I think it's kind of like just 1 year at a time at this point. But for sure until 2028, like hopefully I'll do both projects, I think.
It's an interesting thing. I'll tell you right now, your future, I can see it. One of the things we talk about on the show is if you want to be successful in sailing, it's we call it the no dickheads rule. Like, if you want to make it in sailing, you've got to have the right personality to fit in. And for you, like in the future, all the TPs, all the maxis, all that world, there's going to be more and more women on the boat, and there's plenty of blokes making quite a career and plenty of money doing that. And, with your style of fitting in and the way you interact with people, I guarantee you've got a life in front of you doing that stuff. And so,
yeah,
I can see it for sure.
Yeah, thanks for saying that, because I think when I trialed for I actually trialed for the America's Cup with Olympian for the women's, and they actually didn't take me in the team because of my personality. So after that, I also had a bit like, I was a bit like, okay, like, yeah. So, but I think that's, at least I feel like now I'm like seeing also the SailGP, I do feel like I managed to, because I think also like laser sailor, like I think everyone was super worried of me being like just too like, how do you say, like not at all team player and just
individualistic.
And I think, yeah, too individual. But at the same, like, now I feel like I hopefully did manage to show like with SailGP and our team that like I definitely can work as a team as well. And so, yeah, hopefully, yeah, I can like in the future get into more projects. But yeah, it's really like, it's a time where I think for women's, it's like everything's changing so quick. So it's just, yeah, it's kind of crazy, because really I feel like even 5 years ago, it's like we would never imagine that any of this would happen. Like, so I think you also like in your mind have to start actually seeing this like as really more like a sustainable like career path, and not just like decide that, yeah, at some point I just pull the plug and I go like do a home like job in Switzerland full time, and yeah, get a family and everything.
We want you to hang around as long as possible. So
Yeah.
we love having you in our industry, and you have to excuse me, but I've got a steak cooking in the background, so I don't want to make you hungry.
Yeah, I probably should go and make
if you hear the sizzling noise, hopefully you can't smell it.
I will say we're pretty much out of time, so I do have one final question for you, but we do. I don't know if BP's got another one to ask, but I just want to ask more. I mean, you talked about fun at the start and how much you enjoyed sailing when you were a young kid and stuff. Are you still having fun?
Yeah, I really love it. Especially at 50, and I just love it so much. Like, I can't wait to be in New York next week, and yeah, I think the adrenaline of these foiling boats is just, yeah, it's another dimension in sailing. And I think, yeah, I really hope it's gonna like attract more people in sailing, seeing these kind of like new generation of boats, because I mean, I think we're doing such an amazing sport. I wish more people would see that. But yeah.
That's cool.
Well, coming on the show, I don't know if you've heard much of our show, but you get a reverse curse.
Oh, yes.
Have you heard of the reverse curse? Just quickly. So the commentator's curse is if, let's say, a soccer player is lining up for a penalty, the commentator will say he's the best penalty shooter in the world and he'll never miss. The commentator's curse is he'll kick it over the top of the goalpost. Well, in bar karate, we've got the reverse curse where if you come on the show, something good happens.
You always win.
So
bar karate,
you always win, or you have something really cool happen. So you've now got that in your pocket. So enjoy it. Don't use it. Make sure you use it wisely.
I can only use it once.
Oh, well, we'll see.
Well, it's up to you, really.
If you come back on the show.
Yeah, we can make it a monthly podcast.
So
I can give you all the juice and gossip about SailGP.
Yeah.
No.
Come on.
So next week when you're sailing, just have that in the back of your mind that you've got some good. You've got some good juju, and you're ready to go.
It's won the America's Cup. It's won a lot of Olympic gold medals. It's worked.
It's won the round of the world race.
Yeah,
It'd be nice to a little SailGP prize money.
It's won the 5-0 world. It's won everything. It has won everything.
Yeah, actually, genuinely won the 5-0 worlds. We got the guy on the week before, and he went off and won the 5-0 worlds straight after.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay.
30 years in the class. I love it.
Okay, nice.
All right.
I look forward then to next week. Okay.
It's an absolute ton of fun. I was really keen. As soon as I met you, I knew you were going to be good fun on the show, and I suspect that if any time you want to come back and you got something else to talk about, we're going to have you back for sure. So thank you so much for joining.
Thanks so much for having me. I really enjoyed it as well. So
enjoy yourself.
Look forward to the next one.
Cool. Have a great week next week. Enjoy yourself, and have fun.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Well done.
Good chat, BP. I really enjoy. I think it comes across that I'm a little bit biased towards Maud. There's a reason, when you do all this sort of stuff that we do, where you've got to, you're taking VIP guests and we're trying to host these sorts of shows. Finding someone that's really open and genuine in their communication is really, really important. And she's done some amazing things. So it's a great story. And it's a real pleasure to be around, Maud.
I thought one of the most, what you're saying there is 100% true. And I thought when we were starting off very early into the discussion, she was very emotional about the Tokyo Games.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't want to ask the personal stuff. I certainly didn't.
No, that's not what we're here for. But the point is that sailing at this level, at any level, is an emotional sport, and it's we are human, and that's kind of what we live for. And bar karate with the same with the podcast, we try and bring the human element.
I wonder her parents, her parents must be, like she talked about doing the degree and how important it was for them, but I wonder how important graduation was in relative to going to the Olympics to watch their daughter compete. It's just
we sort of didn't touch that question, did we? It's really interesting to think if their mindset had changed over the years, because ultimately when it all started out, they probably wouldn't have even thought about sailing as a career or this even as a professional industry. And it would be an interesting question to ask now that we've got hindsight in our favour. But I dare say they're very proud. I mean, I think she's at the pinnacle of her career. She's at the top of the world, and I dare say they're very proud.
The other thing, for Sandy and Marshy out there, obviously the reverse curse was important, but that doesn't devalue all the effort and work and your experience. I just wanted to say that.
So what you're saying, it wasn't us that won the worlds for Sandy and Marshy?
No, completely the reverse curse. But I do want to respectfully acknowledge that they did do a lot of work as well themselves personally. But one of the things, it's not fair on everyone out there that they can't all get the reverse curse. But I tell you what, you can all do, which will give you an up, is Radix. jump on and get the Radix Nutrition, because that is a great comprehensive nutritional design goes into building all the Radix. Like they use these RNA targets, and RNA targets a recommended dietary intake across 100 plus nutrients deemed essential and beneficial for healthy metabolism. If you go to Radix Nutrition, just jump on their website and use Barkarati as the code for a discount. You get a discount on us, so Barkarati, one word, and you're
absolutely
away. Yeah.
Absolutely. The other thing that's important about Radix, and a lot of people excuse me, don't actually understand, is that it's about getting the nutrients into you quickly. So the formulation and how they've worked it is that the amino acid is broken down to a level that's instantly digested into the system and getting down to that mitochondrial level. There you go. Pretty pleased now.
Hey, you did a science degree. You're doing a STEM degree, bud. All right, let's move on. Events. Obviously, next weekend, as Maud alluded to, is SailGP in New York. Last year, New York was steaming hot. It was like in the 30s. It was a sweat bucket for everyone that was there. All the beautiful people were sweltering. And not much wind, like little gusts. And remember, we sort of got held over. It's not necessarily looking great for wind, but long, a week out looking in, but probably a little bit cooler. But I hope it comes good for them. Be great if New York can really shine. A lot of people there to sort of do the best thing. So good luck to that. One I did have down was events coming up. There's the Rourke Transatlantic race starting 18 June. So that's the one that comes from Newport, Rhode Island back to Cowes. You across that one, BP?
I am. Sailing that way is always an interesting test. Across the top, you've got to go right up north and get back into the flows. Otherwise, it can get pretty gnarly. Yeah,
and you tend to be going against the tide too. That coming back that way as well. So it can, especially if you do go up north, the current runs against you that way. She's that. It can't be necessarily a ton of fun, but a whole bunch of people are going to be doing it. So that's a good one. All right. We'll step past that. You're going to say anything more, bud?
No. I was just saying a lot of these boats come over and end up staying in the UK region for a while. So I think there's quite a few boats heading over for another big regatta that's coming up very soon, which is getting a lot of press now.
What's that one?
It's called the Admiral's Cup.
Yeah. She's good. I can't wait. Cannot wait.
Yeah.
We're going to do a little thing about build into that as well. We've got so much coming up.
We've got a few people that we can to reach out to have a chat about it. I can tell you one thing though. In my little container in Hamble, which is busy in my own little way, there is a shitload going on over there.
Yeah, right.
There is so much work going on over there at the moment with the Admiral's Cup, and it's done. I've got to say it's going to be an exciting regatta, and I really, really hope that we can see this continuing, to be honest.
Cool. All right, well, let's move on to...
Stand by on this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm into it big time. There's plenty coming up. Jack Lloyd, Listener of the Week, BP, presented by our friends at Vycobi. Vycobi doing some amazing gear. It's gone into winter in Australia, so they got a lot of the warm stuff out.
Yeah, it's right up to 20 degrees today.
Yeah. It was. I mean, I did have to put a thick T-shirt on today, so up where I am.
Thick T-shirt. Is that like one of those sort of nice dress T-shirts, or just a nice 100% cotton one?
No, just cotton, mate. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, very low tech up here. But yeah, if jump on to Vycobi, and if you are getting cold wherever you are, we do have a few of the Barkarati hoodies left, so you can go straight to the Barkarati website for that. We've got a great email from Phil Burgess. Did you read that one, BP?
I've had a little read. I mean, I've got to admit to you, I've been pretty busy this week, so I've been. But anyway, go for it.
So Phil has reached out, and he's got all sorts of information here. And this, I genuinely want to tell everyone, if you're into growing the sport, if you're if you're an organiser, listen to this, what Phil's got to say, because this is really important, and I love this. Hi, Legends. Been a long time listener to your podcast and love how you're always looking for ways to grow our sport and arrest the declining membership at clubs. Here is a fantastic initiative to introduce sailing into the school's STEM curriculum. It's called Sail Lab. I've attached some notes explaining the program, which Jessica Lund, you may know her sailing CV as Jess Eastwell, can expand upon. The initial trials in 6 WA schools have been highly successful, and the teachers are keen to make it a permanent curriculum subject. BP, I mean, there's a lot more to go, but STEM, science, technology, that's sailing. That's exactly sailing. So it's just
100%.
It's genius.
100%, man. And I think that it's a point of our sport that could really take off in terms of education.
Yep. So
and you only got to look at the technology that's around now. Back in the day, it was just a funny boaty thing with a bit of a thing that went down into the water with a thing at the back with a flappy thing on top.
Yeah.
But now it's 100%. A lot of technology, and I think that needs to be addressed.
Well, so discussions with the education departments have been very well received, and it could easily be scaled across Australia and, by the sounds of it, the world. Most sailors will know how much fun it was as kids to be hanging around yacht clubs most weekends, being on the water and developing lifetime friendships. I think this is a great opportunity to get kids off their keyboards and out in the fresh air to learn new skills. With a successful launch in Australia, there's no reason why it can't be exported to other countries. While they have different versions of STEM programs, but none are as comprehensive as this one, made in Australia. It's a wonderful story. He suggests we interview Jess, which I think is a great idea, and we will pursue it. And if we forget, just chase us up, because I often can forget. It was initially funded by a grant from the WA government, but now ceased, and Australian Sailing have agreed to fund the project till the end of the year. So congratulations, Australian Sailing. We also received strong support from AS directors Grant Simmer and Richard Hudson. My brother Kel and I have been helping Jess to develop the models and research further funding to make the program sustainable and longer term. Happy to provide any additional information. Regards. Now, he's provided, there's like a 2-pager here with all the detail and breakdown of it. We can share it if people want, I guess, is probably what I want to say. But I reckon we will do an interview on it, because there's a lot of really cool stuff and how it works. And It's a great idea. But if any people are out there, we can make introductions and connect. So if you're interested in this program and you want to try and work with education or see how they're doing it and getting it to market, we can do that. So, super, super grateful for that email.
Well done, Phil. Thank you very much. And
yes, Phil.
Keep pushing this.
Now, of course, BP, it is that time of the month where we decide who gets the $200
It's that time of the month, is it? Again?
Yes, it is, my friend. So, the contenders. I've gone back through the month. This is why I have no social life.
I've already selected, but that's up to you.
Oh, okay. I love it. So obviously Phil's email is a great one. Tom, our mate Tom Stuchbury.
Stuckleberry Hound.
Stuckleberry Hound. Sorry, Tom, we're playing now. Sorry. And Nick McElwee, which was the email about love for his wife, who's came in, no experience as a sailor, and has gone on and now doing.
Yeah, and I'm tilting towards Nick here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I'd love to say I'm romantic at heart, but my wife would disagree. But that's how it is. What I like about this is that I understand how hard it is when you've got sailing's your thing. Sailing's your thing, and it's hard to get people around you who become close to you, whether in this situation, who really understand that passion. And I love this. I think it's a little mini success story, and I think it's fantastic.
So you're going for Nick?
I'm going for Nick.
All right. I'm happy to go for Nick, because I agree with you. I love it, And
you're going through that. And I've got to say, today I went out today, as I said to you, on the harbour, and it was a day on an Adams 10, which is a a nice little boat here on the harbour with my daughters, and they didn't even realise they were on a boat. They just had a ball.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, man. It's
So I'm with that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Nick, congratulations, mate. I'll get to you. I'll send you an email, and if I forget, just email me back because I got so much on my plate.
He tends to forget.
I did. Well, I've got.
But he's got a lot on his mind.
I did write you last night.
You tend to forget, but you always off the top of your head remember things.
I emailed BP yesterday. I sent him a note yesterday. So, boys, I'm tired. I'm very tired.
Why are you so tired, Jay?
Oh well, I got a real job. Got all sorts of things I got to get done, and it's.
Right.
I'm doing the work of 4 people at the moment, so it's killing me. All right,
we'll work through it.
Let's move on.
It's hot time
without bites. He's on a plane. He's not interested. He doesn't care about us. He's a failure. No, he's doing amazing things. And
I'll tell you what, he's doing some miles. The old boy.
Yeah.
He's doing some sailing.
Speaking of taking you away from family, holy dooly, he's putting.
It's hard work.
Yeah.
Look, I can totally relate to it.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Yeah,
it's not easy. Our industry is not. It's how it is. There's a lot of positives, but I can tell you what, there's some damn hard things. But anyway,
well, I'll tell you what is a damn hard thing. We had that rescue in the Normandy Channel race, BP.
Wow. Did you see the photos of that boat?
I did. That was horrendous.
Look, I'm going to rewind the clock to once Scotty Kavanagh in the mini transit. Would have been 2013, I think it was.
Right.
Same sort of thing. Got rescued off the boat. The boat ended up on an island and completely fine. But this boat is not completely fine.
No, it's in 3 pieces. Wow.
It's unbelievable that that there was no injuries or major injuries, I should say.
So
incredible.
So the detail is obviously, I think it was a container ship. Just didn't bother turning. Just went straight through.
Well, they don't, mate. They don't, and I don't know. Obviously, this is from 100% experience. They don't. He wouldn't have even known.
Oh no, they knew because they were raiding. They were in radio contact with each other and trying to negotiate. And the guy just didn't give. He was a French fisherman. Just came straight through. So, tragedy. No one lost their life, obviously, but the boat going down. But that was pretty full bore. Quite scary to see. So we have seen that they're okay. Saw quite a bit of detail, and there was the audio from Pam's boat, where just going through the detail on that. Bit scarce. So Pam Lee and her boat Empower were there with support. So her and Jim, I think she's sailing with Jay
Well, I
Thompson.
saw they actually caught up with Pam in the UK, and she was really excited about it all. And this was interesting.
Yeah, so in the race itself, it's been run away. So it's about like 1,000-mile race in and around the channel. So Esprit Large was the winner, and then basically a whole bunch of boats. But so
a whole bunch of boats, bunch of boats finished.
But I was just going to say Pam and Jay finished 12th because they stopped and provided support. I guess there's going to be a correction over their time.
Yeah.
That was what I was trying to get to. I was distracted by that. So they gave up quite a bit of performance. There was a lot of retirements.
It's horrific. The photos are just horrific. I mean, you just look at that boat and it is just destroyed.
Yep. And conditions were tough as well because there were quite a few retirements in the fleet, like a significant number of retirements. So it was a tough little race, that one. So I'm glad everyone eventually was okay. The helicopter turned up at the best possible time. Speaking of tough races, did you see any of the footage from the Myth of Malholm race? Did you see any of that?
Mate, there's another race coming up, the round the island race, and I've got to tell you, that zone, that area, the Needles, I don't know why sailing's so popular in the UK.
It's the middle of summer in the UK. It was just a classic summer day in Britain. It was miserable, cold.
Wind against tide, and I mean some of the photos are just spectacular from John Greener Cows. Shout out to John Greener Cows. But some of the and of course John Greener Cows, and also Rick Tomlinson took some cracking photos as well. But that area, I mean, it's nuts.
Yeah,
it's nuts.
Yeah. I don't know why anyone would do it. Is the honest answer? But they do.
That's the point. I mean, and these boats are just getting smashed when they go through them.
I think there was also that race. It was actually IRC national champs as well. I think in the UK as well. So one of the events in the IRC national champs.
Yes.
So, yeah. What else? So there was also
Sydney Namir.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. I was going to do results, but I won't. I won't do results on that because people can look up results. It's a bit boring. But the other one that was on the North Sea race that was just run on the weekend as well. So the North Sea race, that's another 180 miler. So. So they're getting the build-up for what you started about with BP, which is obviously we're moving towards the Admiral's Cup and all that season, the Fastnet and all the major events that are coming along. But yeah, Sydney to Noumea. What I was going to try and fire this one up a bit, but we can't really, can we? We have to. I don't know. We have to be pretty honest with this one.
Well, I mean, they're all going to get a placing, so they're doing well.
3 boats started in the Sydney to Noumea.
Well, as long as they all finish, we can sort of name the positions now. It's there's definitely, and that's how it is.
Well, off you go.
Well, we know Wald. Congratulations, Wald, thing on a fantastic line honours win, and have taken it out on corrected time. A time yet to be actually adjudicated because we don't know what that time is.
Yeah.
But they're definitely going to win.
So it only started. It only started yesterday, at time of record.
It's an adventure race. Let's get back to the core of why we do these things. And we know Warro very well, and we know Warro loves an adventure. And the Sydney to Noumea race, and I can tell you when they get to the other end, the people who've done the race, it's a cool experience. And so, and with 3 boats, I think it'll be kind of like, romantic.
Yeah, well, I reckon the radio chat will be quite fun as well. So,
Scared to be good, nice and quick.
Yeah. So we got Packman going as well as Wild Thing and Llama 2, the boats that are heading out. Look, if you're not from the region, going from Sydney to Noumea, it's a bloody lovely course. You tend to reach up that way. Just cruise straight up unless there's an ugly weather system. But
tropical low, yeah.
Yep. So it's a good little course and ton of fun. So,
a couple of 1,000 miles, isn't it?
Yeah. The other thing I think of interest for at BP is that, I mentioned last week that sort of new Southern Cross event which includes the Sydney to Auckland leg. So
yes.
Few more races going offshore at the moment and going out to sea and doing a little bit different. So I'm interested. There's a lot of events on. I don't know how everyone.
I think we also need to touch. Yeah, there's a lot of events, but I think we need to just quickly rewind the discussion a tad with Warro with his new rig in the boat.
Yep.
So it's definitely out of the Shitterall zone now.
Yep.
So we can't go down that path. So we're going to see a very competitive 100-footer for the Sydney to Hobart this year, I think.
That thing, and obviously being so light, she's going to go well downhill. I suspect she might tip over a lot uphill, but downhill she's going to be smoke along because I'm not sure if the keel. I think the keel's still the old 80-footers keel, but it'll be good.
Right. Okay. No, but it's good. He's a great man, Warro, and great for our sport and a character. And salute to all the characters in our sport.
Very cool. Cool. All right. Well, I think that's going to be our show. I really did enjoy that chat. I hope you did too. I think you did. We're
with Arnie Maud.
Arnie Maud.
Sorry, Maud. That's not what I mean by that.
Yeah.
But no, it's just interesting, isn't it? That it reminded me of that. My auntie with the name.
There you go. All right, cool. Thanks for listening, everyone. I hope it's enjoyable for you. Remember to reach out to us at cheers@barkarati.com. You can win the Vycobi gear for something interesting.
Apparently, you've got to like us on TikTok now too, by the way.
Oh, okay. We're doing shit on TikTok, are we?
Well, apparently, yeah.
Okay.
We've got a new IT manager.
IT manager, she's jumping onto it. Good on her.
She just requests timestamps of funny bits all the time. She's on my back non-stop. She just rings me up every day.
Love it.
WhatsApps me. Unfortunately, I've given her my number, so she just contacts me non-stop.
Daughters do that, BP. Radix Nutrition, if you want to use Barkarati as a discount code, use that as well. And have a great week. And we've got some good things lined up, so hopefully you're going to keep enjoying Barkarati. And be cool.
What we do. All right, bye then.